Partnered by Times Influence.
India as a growing economy is moving upward on the Ease of Doing Business Index and have risen more than 50 places in just 2 years. But it still faces a lot of developmental challenges which hamper the pace of growth. Adapting sustainable business practices is one of the most appropriate ways to meet such challenges and India to grow more inclusively.
The smog in the last few weeks in Delhi has been a prominent reminder about the importance of all of us, individuals in civic society, government, companies and others working together to address the key sustainability challenges that we face, such as the environment.
The global platform of dialogues, India and Sustainability Standards, strives to provide much required momentum to mitigate such challenges, which is affecting nations' growth and our life.
Welcome to all of you to the 5th Annual Sustainability Conference of CRB.
This year again, with more than 800 delegates from around the world, India and Sustainability Standards International Dialogues and Conference 2018 pushed for the much required sustainable practices to help businesses being more transparent and responsible towards community and environment. New Delhi-based think tank Center for Responsible Business CRB has been working on the agenda of sustainable practices and has come a long way since its first annual conference successfully because of its unique way of engagement with stakeholders.
5 years ago at Center for Responsible Business, we had set a vision and mission for ourselves. And we designed a small one-day seminar on this topic. We were enthused with the interest and participation of partner organizations and delegates in the day-long dialogues and deliberation, and which led us to setting a more ambitious and a complex design for the conference. The complexity of the design of this conference lies in it being an India-based international platform for dialogues on CSR sustainability-related issues across themes and across industry sectors.
Balancing economic progress with sustainable development is one of the key challenges in an emerging economy like India. Though Indian companies are inching towards adopting sustainable business practices, the government is more keen to move forward quickly, since it knows that having such practices would contribute a lot to enhance India's pie in global trade.
Putting standards in place for sustainability is an extremely important issue. Therefore, I am very happy that consistently you have been working on the issue. I will offer you my full support to bring these standards into reality, which will also help Indian products to be exported more globally. Misunderstanding related to some of the contents of the product will disappear and will help industry to grow even faster.
Now, even Niti Aayog has started a baseline index of India's states' performance on various UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. It has been now established that creating a culture of responsible business and conducive policy environment is mandatory to achieve a sustainable future for the country, and businesses are expected to play critical roles in tackling environmental degradation and create social value while maximizing shareholder value and growth.
So I call upon you to do your business with compassionate intelligence. Make sure that no child labor is involved in your supply chain. No child should become the victim of trafficking or slavery in producing wealth at the cost of freedom and childhood. As responsible business leaders, you have to prove your leadership for the society as well.
what should not be done? Here comes the responsibility of finance sector, which can be a game changer.
We do not have an ideal norm yet in India for the banks to adhere to in terms of what they will not or what we should not be funding. And I think there's a very important push that we require there. The world will suddenly wake up to the fact that there's financing happening in areas that should not be financed. And it comes from banks, it comes from the capital markets. I have sat on a couple of global boards, and I can tell you that when that trade hits you, before you know it, you have a huge issue.
Dedicated to sustainable development, Center for Responsible Business believes collaboration is fundamental to achieve the ambitious and critical global goals SDGs. That's why the theme of the dialogue this year was forced on the collaborative approach leveraging CSR and voluntary sustainability standards to work towards sustainable development goals.
The SDGs require a holistic approach, and we are only successful if we have partnerships for the goals. It is especially important to encourage the cooperation between government and private sector, because, and this is, I think, quite clear to all of you who are sitting here, governments alone will not be able to achieve the SDGs.
The inaugural was followed by 3 high-level panel discussions on cooperation among and across the governments to link the global goals with local challenges, creating lasting public and private sector collaboration models in practice and building trust, and how to make multi-stakeholder partnerships work to achieve SDGs.
We are still very much in government, civil society, business, siloed in our own languages, our own rationales, and our own perceptions of the others, right? But that's exactly, I think, where this conference comes in. We can all start to be, for the next 3 days, a little bit of tri-sector athletes. We might not make it to the marathon, but we can have 3 days of networking, sharing experience, and enabling us to understand the way the other sectors, organizations work, see the world, and make the platform from which we can really then start to think about common solutions. So let's use these 3 days to do what this conference really has in mind, think and start about collaboration and working together.
A number of international and national thought leaders and practitioners on sustainable development, SDGs, voluntary sustainability standards had deep diving deliberation in these panels.
The first 16 goals name big challenges that we must address and have some measures for how we are progressing against them. Okay, and we heard earlier Mr. Vaku saying, pointing out that he's right, that they're all interlinked. Number 1 and 2 connected, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, and all of them are connected. You cannot reach the sustainable development goals by pursuing, by choice only, any one.
What have been their learnings in terms of what works well in collaborations? Someone said, sustainable development goals are wicked problems.
Thank you very much. I always very much like to talk about the wicked problems. It's sometimes very difficult to get all relevant stakeholders committed to the same goal. And that's a huge challenge we also experienced in our country. How do we do this in our own Dutch policies? First of all, the SDGs is very much into the heart of our international trade and investment agenda. Our Minister for International Cooperation and International Trade and Investment, Minister Kaag, presented a new policy paper to the Parliament just before summer, and the SDG agenda is really our roadmap. And for the first time, it's so central in the roadmap for international policies. And it's crucial that the private sector is involved in this roadmap. And if you look also at the way we work together with India, as 2 countries both very much committed to the SDG agenda, you see that we focus on water because we have so much expertise to share, on livable cities, on water sanitation, on agriculture, very relevant SDGs, and we try to transform these SDGs in what we call business opportunities.
This conference has now evolved into an India-based international platform partnered every year by over 100 Indian and international organizations, including corporates, academia, civil society, bilateral and multilateral organizations, and international development agencies.
Our focus on women's empowerment and equality. We have placed a particular emphasis, both domestically and internationally, on empowering women and girls. And in fact, our feminist international assistance policy was recently announced. And what we believe is that we want to ensure, which is one of the principles of the SDGs, is that we believe no one is left behind. This policy ensures that 95% of our bilateral and international development assistance will focus on advancing gender equality by 2021-2022.
This year, senior corporate executives from more than 24 of the Indian as well as the multinational corporates including Tata Group, Mahindra Group, Aditya Birla Group, Ambuja Cements, Sterlite, Jindal, Vedanta, ITC, HCL, Cargill, Marks & Spencer, Superdry, Genpact, Piramal, PVR, Rabobank, IKEA, Vodafone and many more supported and participated in this congregation on responsible business practice and sustainable development, and underlined the importance of collaboration.
You know, this whole thing of working together, circular economy is one of the key enablers that can help us, this whole concept of one planet, that we are one planet, and using technology as an enabler can really help us find solutions to some of these larger problems that we are looking at as a globe.
And the Tata Trust came forward, volunteers from Tata Steel came forward, resources were put together, the government department of the state, the federal representatives in the district, WHO representatives on the ground, as well as the hospital system were all deployed with funding from the WHO and the Tata Trust. And in 3 months, India became smallpox free on July 3, 1975. Now this is a beautiful example of what is possible when people from the government, from private sector, the public sector, in this case the public sector provided the vaccines, when volunteers get together, when there is a concerted effort towards a common purpose, a common goal.
Such brands and corporates get engaged with CRB because its work suggests the ways and processes to get benefits of adopting sustainable business practices with the help of domain experts, enhancing brand value and reputation of few such benefits.
So we came to this conclusion that they weren't buying the product in the bottle. They were buying what the label promised them as a dream, depending on what you wanted. So at the end of it, it didn't matter what they were drinking. They were drinking a promise. And the promise is what we created for them. So that's the power of advertising and also the deception of it.
The country faces the challenge of depleting natural resources and overconsumption. At the same time, it has still to go a long way on the social indices. In 30 sessions, more than 200 experts deliberated on issues ranging from e-waste to child labour, from food-energy nexus to deforestation, from aligning CSR to SDGs to circular economy, from child labour to women in value chain.
बच्चे छोटे थे तो नहीं कर पाते थे वहाँ पे सारा घर का काम करके तो बाहर जाते थे तो उसमें दिक्कत आ जाती थी काम करने में.
The 3 days conclave witnessed a lot of thought-provoking discussions, ending up with a way forward and innovative ideas to implement. This conference is not a one-off event. It is a beginning of a lot of work and thoughts and culmination for many initiatives. It set the agenda for moving forward and take stock of the agenda set in the earlier years for inclusivity and sustainable development in India. That's why the event attracts a lot of academic institutions of global repute. This year, Aston University of the UK and University of Michigan supported the conference, while having different sessions as well.
The triple bottom line very quickly is born out of this kind of balanced scorecard approach that John Elkington talked about, trying to account for the full costs and benefits of business activity in a space where social, economic, and environmental objectives interact. He talks about the 3 Ps, people, planet, prosperity, or profit.
Where we generally talk about large organizations, but SMEs are part of the supply chain and so on from both sides, where we are helping companies on their ambition of minimizing or reducing their carbon footprint. So we have funds which we are giving to the companies so that they can refine whatsoever they want, not only the energy but the electricity and many other things.
Aston University launches its international research project promoting responsible value chains in India for an effective contribution of the private sector to the SDGs. Progress on this occasion.
I would like to call upon the stage the Pro Vice Chancellor International of Aston University, Ms. Saskia Hansen. Please.
Thank you, Aaron. I'll just echo what everybody else has said. It's wonderful to be here tonight. It's great to be part of a conference where the main theme is about partnership and collaboration. And I think this project illustrates perfectly how together we can achieve so much more than what we can do on our own. So I'm proud to be able to officially announce the launch of the Progress project.
Centre for Responsible Business will be taking care of all the research and studies in India for this project, which is being supported by the Canadian Development Agency, International Development Research Centre, IDRC. The project will identify, explore and analyze the developmental challenges like employment opportunities for the youth, women's social and economic empowerment, the environmental destruction caused through unplanned and unchecked business activities.
There have been some very specific outputs and deliverables that have emerged from this and the previous editions of this conference. So, congrats and kudos to the organizers, to the CRB for having not only conceptualized and for organizing this conference on a regular basis, but also for sustaining interest. You offer something good and you can rest assured you would have the interest of people out here.
This journey of 5 years did not end at the end of the 3rd day. There was a beginning at the end where CRB and its partners broadly reflected on the discussions and gleaned emerging issues and key takeaway for promoting responsible business across various sectors, as well as enriching the dialogue with their feedbacks and suggestions.
So it's important that we are talking about these things. It's important that we've had multiple perspectives. It's important now that CRB puts it all together in a meaningful document or a monograph and circulates that to people in a meaningful way so that they are able to take action in their own respective areas.
There's a lot of countries that are competing with India for export markets, right? To be competitive, to improve your overall economic wealth, sustainability practices have to be really made or brought into the DNA, I would say, of firms. And also the buying companies, whether they're in Europe, whether they're in North America, doesn't really matter. But the buying companies these days are also requiring that their suppliers are sustainable.
I think it's very innovative, the kind of work that you are doing and that is being materialized by this conference. Like bringing together different type of people, different type of stakeholders to really try to advance the thinking on sustainability standard in India.
I think CRB did a wonderful job in bringing
together all these different voices in industry, in government, civil society, to talk about how to move the agenda of sustainability. I think that's a really absolutely important element of moving the agenda, because we can only achieve the goal of sustainability together, and the conference here provides a wonderful space to achieve that.
What CRB puts together is to actually extend the scope of what could be the collaboration with businesses to ensure that they can reduce their negative impact as well as maximize the positive impact that they can have on society. If organizations as us can actually work already on some pilots that are already working, or creating a methodology which is working, and then bringing it back to them and saying, guys, we know what works, this is what you need to do. And then I believe it makes life easier for everyone.
ये कॉन्फ्रेंस बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है क्योंकि विगत कई वर्षों से सिविल सोसाइटी और बिजनेस एक दूसरे के पूरक होते हुए भी एक दूसरे के साथ डायलॉग नहीं कर पा रहे थे। इस कॉन्फ्रेंस ने एक अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड की है जिसमें दोनों डिफरेंट पिलर्स जो हैं एक दूसरे के साथ मिल रहे हैं, बातचीत कर रहे हैं, जिससे भविष्य में एक सकारात्मक चर्चा को मदद मिलेगी और हम समुदाय की बेहतरी के लिए प्रयास कर पाएंगे।
Partnered by Times Influence.